Hey everyone, it's Brandon over here at BRE. I'm kind of alone today, unfortunately, but it's okay. But anyways, this one might actually be a pretty short one today, but that's okay. It's no worries. But anyway, so today we're going to be talking about what's been going around and about the past few days, especially last week. Um, Last week they were talking about on how Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake have been pushed back again. But not for, a small minute, a small amount of time. They've been pushed back for 3 years. Honestly, I don't know why. But to be fair, I mean, look at look at Breath of the Wild. I know that game in particular was pushed back for a good while. Breath of the Wild, I think, was pushed back 3 times, and it was supposed to be released in 2014. But no, they decided to bring it out this year, so I mean, it took them 3 years. But I know everybody, was on edge on, wanting Kingdom Hearts 3 really badly after so long. And, the Final Fantasy 7 remake, that's going to be great. But I'm pretty sure, they have the reasons as to why, they push them back. But to be fair, too, even though they've been pushing them back so long, Square Enix honestly hasn't disappointed us whenever there's a game that's been pushed back and then they release it and the game's been great even though despite all those pushbacks. Sometimes things that would take time is definitely a lot better in the end for that. Personally for me, I don't mind it. I trust me, it's like as much as I would love to get my hands on the game, right then and there, be able to play, the different possible what is it, like not like the areas, but like the different Disney universes that we'll be able to get involved with this time. For all I know, since probably Frozen might even get involved in it. I'm even looking towards like the Marvel characters to being involved as well, since Disney owns them now. So we might even see things like, who knows, could be anywhere in the Marvel universe. It'd be insane. We might even team up with other people within the Marvel universe that could be anywhere from like Iron Man, Captain America, anybody, you name it. Anybody's fair game. Like, it's crazy. But aside from that, like I really want to see like how it's going to continue. But they kind of basically put us, in prep, ready for it because of Kingdom Hearts 2.8 or 2.9, I believe, the one that came out in January. But that's good. But either way, like I understand that some of you are very impatient for it, and I know you just want it. You're tired of waiting. But things like that, it'll definitely be worth it in the end. And as for the Final Fantasy VII Remake, from looking at their pictures that they have for like teasers and everything on it, the fact that I think, if I remember Final Fantasy VII correctly, I think it used to be turn-based. Judging from how it looks, it definitely looks like a bit more open world-esque per se. Like you're able to be out in the streets and fight off enemies and stuff. I don't think it might be turn-based anymore. I think they might be turning into like similar to what Final Fantasy 15 did. But who knows? I mean, anything can happen. Could be an intermix of both. Like you never know. What else was there that I wanted to talk about? But aside from that, like, what do you guys think about it? What do you guys think of the as to why they could have pushed back the games? Like I'm pretty sure there's articles everywhere in regards to it as to why they did it, but what do you think that they've possibly pushed it back in general? They did, Bobby. Like I'm not kidding you. They already pushed it back. They pushed it back 3 years. They're not going to be released till 2020. I don't know why. Like my heart, it hurts so much. But either way, I mean, you guys can tell me, down below, and then, if you guys can't make it now, you can tell me later on how you guys feel about it. Because honestly, like I said, I'm mixed. Like, I really want to play it, but, the longer they put, more effort into the game, the better it's going to be. Or, so we hope. But like I said, Square Enix hasn't let us down when it came to anything like that. So we're just going to have to wait and see and find out. Now, another topic I wanted to touch on, aside from that, is, how there's, like, a bunch of subtitle games, like, let's, an example, like the Mario franchise, like, how there's Mario Kart, Mario Strikers, anything like that, or the Mario Party games. Some people have been asking me, like, why some of these are better in general, like why some titles of those are better compared to their other predecessors, like either they came out before them or after them, like those ones that are kind of in the middle. Um, Examples like in the Mario Kart franchise. The Mario Kart franchise had so many of them. You had Super Mario Kart, Mario Kart 64. You had the Game Boy Advance games. I think it was Super Circuit, I believe. Then you also had, the DS games. Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart DS, etc., Mario Kart 8, Wii, everything. Um, I read an article the other day that people have been saying that this Mario Kart in particular is the best out of them all. Now, honestly, I could have kind of agreements to it. To be fair, I actually used to play this game a lot in high school. But that's beside the point, on playability. Basically, in this game, it honestly felt very competitive for what the game had to offer in general. Mario Kart DS, coming from, I believe, yeah, this is definitely after Double Dash. Double Dash, introduced, or, what was already there, the drifting mechanic. They're able to do what was called snaking. So basically what snaking is, you're basically, drifting from side to side, and, you get a speed boost, if you drift along enough. Like, the flares on your wheels would change color until it's most likely, believe the color was blue when they were ready for you to let go of the trigger, and then you get, like, a slight speed boost. What was crazy about in this game was that every cart had its own different, like ranges per se, aside from speed, acceleration, steering, etc. What was crazy about this game was that the person that was heavily abused on this game, I cannot stress it enough, was Dry Bones as soon as you got him. Because all three of his carts not only had amazing steering, amazing handling, etc. None of his carts had any speed whatsoever. They were all slow as heck. But however, if you were able to drift and get a speed boost off from, drifting, then, you let go of the left trigger, then you get a slight speed boost after that, then his acceleration off that is absurd. Like, it goes for so long. And if you're able to do it consistently, like, the speed with that is bar none. Like, it's crazy. And I think why people enjoyed this game so much was because, there was so much, like, involvement, and, like, if you want to improve on, your gaming on it, you're able to do, like, what's the word? Basically, it felt like more difficult, per se. But, once you were able to master it, you could easily fly through any course possible. And if you were to go against other people on this, they knew the exact same thing as you did, those races can get pretty crazy. Especially, like, you're trying to, like, go through the race so perfectly until some friend of yours decides to throw a blue shell at you, or red shells or whatever, to screw you up entirely. They have to get back in the rhythm of doing it again. But, because I used to, like, play this game with my friends in high school, and we'd always bet each other and whatever on, like, who would beat each other, etc. It was between 4 to 8 people, we all do the same exact thing. Like, it was crazy. But, and also, like, aside from that, for what the game had to offer, it had a lot of good courses on here, and some of them, like, had throwback courses on here. Also, the battle mode was okay, but it was cool that this game introduced Mario Kart Online. Like, as in, Wi-Fi playability. And being able to play online versus other people, it really wanted to get people onto, playing against one another, Mario Kart finally over online rather than having to do it locally. And after this came out, Mario Kart Wii came out with the introduction to bicycles. Bicycles in itself was pretty interesting, and the fact that you're able to get a speed boost off doing wheelies was pretty crazy. And it really, like, catered to also, like, the people that love to do time trials too, because they had to keep up, like, a certain rhythm in order to, to get the best possible time that they wanted to or needed to get in order to, break the record. I'm pretty sure that, there are plenty of world records, online, and, you could look them up and try to beat them for yourself. But you had to put in a lot of practice and, into learning how snaking worked in this game. Snaking, unfortunately, didn't work that well in Mario Kart Wii. However, That's why people reverted to bikes, because, after you drift, like, into a corner and you get a slight speed boost, as you're getting the speed boost, you can do a wheelie after that, and you still get to maintain your speed boost a bit. So that was pretty cool. Another game that's like that in particular, like in the same scenarios, which one of the games would be better, is definitely an argument between the Mario Party games. The Mario Party games, from 1 to 7, they all generally played the same. You get 3 other friends, with you, and, you all play party games, etc. But, there was always, like, these little things that, separated them from each other. Because, Mario Party 1, those, the basic go-to, everybody knew what that one was, and it was great for what it was. 2 introduced the concept of, whatever map you go to, everybody dresses up differently. I remember there was a Halloween one. They all dressed up as, like, witches and warlocks, so that was pretty cool. I remember there was a Western one that they all got to dress up in cowboy get-ups, so that was pretty funny. But, and then the third one, a lot of people liked it just because of its soundtrack. Like, every little game has its own little perks. And, when 4 came around, they introduced the use of being able to have not only more items, but they also introduced, like, a little capsule system, I believe. And it had, like, a slight story mode per se, but even then, like, the story modes for the Mario Party games were kind of but it was still fun for what it was. But everybody still played it for the sheer fact that, you're all able to go against each other, steal coins, steal stars from each other, and, still have a blast. Hey, Luis, good to see you again. And, what else was there? But there, for some reason, some people didn't like the later renditions of the Mario Party games. For me, personally, I didn't like 6 and 7. Don't get me wrong, even though they still played out the same as compared to the other ones, the reason I didn't like it so much is because I didn't like the use of the microphone. In Mario Party 6 and 7, for some of you that may not know, it actually came with its own microphone, and you would plug that into your slot B memory card slot for your GameCube or, for your Nintendo Wii, whichever one you have. And some mini games required it. I mean, I thought it was a pretty cool twist for what it was, but I don't know, like, I started to feel like it started to veer away from, I guess, just from how the games were in general, but, like, this is just me, playing from all the way from Mario Party 1. And, some people enjoyed it. Basically, it's like, it was really mixed on how people felt about it. But when Mario Party 8 rolled in, we were hoping, or a lot of people were hoping, that Mario Party 8 was going to have Wi-Fi capability. Yes, it does ruin friendships. I know it does. But that's the fun sport of it. Stealing a star for somebody that just got it, that's the best feeling ever. Or especially if, some random gets it out of a hidden block, you're just like, oh my god! I remember there was a Mario Party game where somebody got 3 hidden blocks in a row and all of them had stars. We were on full tilt. Like, we didn't even know what even. But back to what I was saying, but a lot of people were really hoping that Mario Party 8 had Wi-Fi capability. It didn't. I don't know why. I really wish they made a Mario Party game that had online playability, just because, you could go ruin other people's friendships, I guess. But, like, the fact that, you'd be able to play with other people for the sheer fun of playing a Mario Party game with other people around the world, like, I don't even know, like, where the wrong in that would be, or, like, why that wouldn't be fun. I mean, I don't see, like, where there could be a competitive aspect in it, aside from breaking other records in other mini-games. But other than that, like, I don't mind, finding random people online, like, hey, you want to play a game of Mario Party? Yeah, sure. And then, we just pick a map and then just go from there. But what I don't like, personally, from 8, 9, and 10, I'm pretty sure, they all had their, fun moments here and there, but the thing I do not like about it, as wrong as this may sound, I do not like the fact that you're all working together to beat the map. Because basically the maps in general were made for everybody to go against each other. Like, Steel Star, or, Chance Time. Chance Time was the biggest game changer in any Mario Party game, but it's not there. Or it could be, but it works differently. But now they made it to where, you're all working together to beat the map. Especially like on Mario Party 10. It's all 4 of you versus the person who's playing Bowser on the pad, which is basically a 5-player game. That's fine. Like, that they added more players, that's cool. But the style that it changes into that, like, it doesn't feel the same how it used to. And I'm pretty sure that, people that played Mario Party in the old days and, haven't played it for a while, then they see Mario Party 10, then they have a Wii U, like, hey, I want to get this, I want to be able to play Mario Party again with my friends. Yeah, you'll be able to, but it's not going to be how it was back in its earlier titles, where you were all against each other, ruining each other's friendships. But, like I said, it's just my personal take on it, on that kind of thing. I guess one more I could touch on would be the Pokemon franchise. I mean, I know this is all generally Nintendo stuff, but basically it's like all of that, falls under the same roof of, like, games, like multiple title franchises. Like in the Halo series, like they say, like the best ones that, like out of all three of the first three, the base one is the best one's the second one. Things like that. For Pokemon's case, a lot of people have been arguing that the fourth generation was one of its best points. But sometimes they forget, or sometimes that is forgotten that, the third generation, which was, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, was the first pivoting point. Because in the third generation, that introduced the concept of natures. Natures brought in a huge, different competitive aspect for the Pokemon franchise. Like, the fact that you actually had to worry about a certain nature to get more out of your stats for your Pokemon in general. I mean, it sounds crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure you're just like, oh, I just want to go catch this and that, not have to worry about it, go beat the Elite Four and blah, blah, blah. In competitive Pokemon, it's, like, way out in its own field. Like, you have to worry about their natures, you have to worry about what's called, their EVs and their IV stats. It's a lot, and, you have to worry about, a certain move that you can only learn from breeding another Pokemon, etc. Like, it's a lot of information. If you want to look up that, you're more than welcome to on your own time. But it's like, each game has its own, different pivoting points, as some people will, still continue and still enjoy it, and some people will just, like, veer away from it and, kind of stick to, what they originally liked. For a Pokemon franchise, most people will stick around, with what they loved initially, which was, Red, Blue, and Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal. And then after that, people would be able to start getting into Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, which introduced more of a competitive style based. And the reason why people liked Generation 4 a lot was because not only did it introduce, new different styles of competitive play, and more Pokemon to the table. It also introduced, what was it called? Oh my god, for the life of me, I can't remember right now. But Generation 4 also did have a lot of legendary Pokemon, and those legendary Pokemon you can use in competitive play at times, because there are some Pokemon, if you look up their stats, like online or something, you can see, like, some of them have, like, a certain ratio of numbers. And some of those will still fit under the list of, like, actual normal Pokemon like Charizard, etc. I'm just going, like, on and on about that. But basically, it's like Gen 4 also introduced, like, a really good story concept. Ever since the start of Gen 4 is when they started, like really good backstories. Like, aside from, oh, that's like a syndicate team, trying to take over the world, etc. Team Rocket just takes other Pokemon, trying to trade them, take over the world. They did it again in Johto, failed, and then Team Aqua and Magma came in. That's when it started to take, like, a little bit of a different twist. Like, okay, so we got two team syndicates, however, they all have, like, their own goal in mind. Team Magma and Aqua wanted to change the climate for, their own benefit. And then as for Generation 4, which is Team Galactic, they wanted to introduce they wanted to change the entire universe of time and space. And that's why they wanted to deal with Dialga and Palkia. The Pokemon Platinum was great because you got to say, like, there was an alternate dimension, which is called the Distortion World. So basically, it's like like a distorted part of the world where Giratina was banned off to. So basically, it's like once Generation 4 rolled around, it started to, like, develop, like, a more in-depth story for not only their legendary Pokemon, but also for, like, the plot line in general, which is crazy. And then it started to get, like, even more in depth as the generations went on. Like, the Black and White series. Black and White had like ideals and truths, which was Reshiram and Zekrom, and then you had the one in the middle, which is Kira. And what was great was that Black and White 2 was a sequel to that one, and that was the first sequel that they've ever done. Like the fact that they were able to do a sequel from Pokemon games that it still continues on from where it left off, that was pretty cool. And I feel that they might actually do that again to Sun and Moon, because I don't want to say any spoilers, but with Sun and Moon, at the end of that story, I feel like it might continue. Oh, stop it, Jonathan. With Jonathan, oh you. But I really hope that they do continue the story for Sun and Moon after everything that's happened in there. And if it does, some people have been leaning that it might continue off in Kanto, because they've been having a lot of hints that the next game might end up in Kanto or something like that. But I mean, who knows? Time will tell. But anyways, I think I'll probably about wrap it up today. It was a pretty short day, but hopefully we'll be looking up other news, because that was literally the only thing that came up at the top of our heads, that what was big and what everybody's been thinking about. Other than that, I think that's about it. So I want to thank you all for tuning in, taking your time out of your way to come and see me today. Really appreciate it. You're the best. But anyways, so we'll catch you guys on Thursday. Hopefully Christian will be back by then, and we'll catch you then soon. Okay? Take care, guys.